r/AskReddit. What was banned in your school because of a crazy incident? In my middle school, they banned kids from saying, "Whoop, there it is." Yep, if you said it, you got detention. Zip ties. People used to quietly and slowly zip tie people to their desks through their belt loops during class. Duckers. They banned running at my elementary school. If you ran during recess, you'd be sitting on the bench for the rest of the break. My friend ran into a teacher accidentally while we were playing tag. She didn't fall or anything, but it was probably a bit of a surprise. This prompted Ms. Mean to punish the whole school, so she self-righteously banned running. The next day, Ms. Mean met with all the 5th grade classes to justify her decision. She said people only need 1 hour of exercise a week to be healthy. It was ridiculously stupid, and that's not any sort of justification for the decision. The tension in the room was palpable. My 5th grade teacher just sat at his desk, chuckling at the sheer ridiculous nature of the whole thing. The next day, the entire 4th grade and 5th grade sat down by the play structure for the entirety of recess. When they told us to stop sitting together via megaphone, everyone walked around the perimeter of the kickball field and sang songs together. My friends and I made a ton of flyers to bring back running. While we were handing them out before school, the principal grabbed one. We thought we were in huge trouble. It turns out the principal was never told about this ban on running. Mean old lady was taken off yard duty. I don't think she works at my elementary school anymore. Viva la revolucion. Apparently my high school used to have an archery club for the mentally handicapped students. You kinda see where this is going. Someone got shot with an arrow. Archery club banned. Boxing gloves, because a couple of years ago, a few guys started a fight club in one of the bathroom stalls. Bringing your own water bottles. It was only a matter of time until vodka was involved. That was banned at my high school too. I had to go to the doctors in the middle of the week they banned them, and I got him to write note to them saying that water bottles were medically necessary for me to have. I was the only one drinking from a water for the better part of a month, until they realized it was stupid. Glue sticks. There was a fad where people would throw glue sticks onto the ceilings all around the school. It became a big game about who can get one in the most bizarre place. Sharpies permanent markers. Senior year, a group of kids organized a knife fight throughout the school. Basically the people participating would wear plain white shirts and be split into gangs. Each gang was armed with a different color marker. The goal was to stab people on other gangs as many times as possible. After a couple injuries and couple people who accidentally wore white that day, the administration got more than a little angry. Edit. Plain to plain. My 3rd grade English teacher would be ashamed. Students weren't allowed to use the elevator after a couple was caught having sex in it. Google. We have to use Bing. I don't even know why. Cashing in on their Bing rewards? They banned scarves in my high school because apparently the first year principal got the idea in her head that only gang members wear scarves. The weirdest part was we lived in an upstate New York town that never had anything close to a gang problem. Long story short, every student protested by wearing scarves the next day. CNN caught wind of it, and my school got national attention for the first and last time. Shortly after that the principal was fired. Scarves were allowed again and everyone stopped wearing them like usual. Too long didn't read principal banned scarves. Got fired almost immediately after. Pokemon cards were banned at my elementary school. People complained about shitty trades and it was basically used as currency. One kid refused to comply. My teacher made him go buy a clear backpack. It was a private school, so she apparently could do that shit. So she could check his shit without having to dig through it. Funny thing is I have no ducking idea why that kid kept bringing them when no one else in the school did. What the duck were you doing with them, Matthew? Edit. So apparently a Matthew, with a clear backpack, in the late 90s, that went to a private school, who also happened to get Pokemon cards banned, is a super common thing on Reddit. Also many are curious this was in Colorado. Also Matthew clearly didn't have a problem finding a clear backpack because he had one the day after my shitty teacher told him to go buy one. Flipping pennies. Group of people would flip a penny and if it landed on the side you called out, you would cheer. If it didn't, you still cheered. Administration said that this was being used as a distraction to the teachers so that fights could go on elsewhere without them knowing. One guy got suspended for penny flipping. My high school banned the word meep, you know, like from the Muppets. Teachers thought meep was used to mean something else, like something sexual. No, it was just funny to murmur it in the middle of class. In my elementary school, my friends used to play pretend to be addicted to drugs and addictive substances like alcohol and smoking. One student came up with the idea that cocaine was a lot similar to sugar, so students started smuggling sugar around the school. Some genius ended up putting Kool-Aid mix into his, and then everyone started calling it happy crack. This underground kiddie drug ring ran for about 4-5 weeks under the school's radar until a teacher caught 2 kids making a deal. Then everyone who was involved had to sit in a giant lecture in the cafeteria and listen to the principal explain that our happy crack was a gateway drug and that it would ruin our lives. Too long didn't read, my elementary class made a drug and ran an underground ring across the school. The school wasn't happy. Edit. Sweet baby Jesus. This blew up. Thanks for laughing at my childhood, guys. One of my teachers is very laid back but has a strict no phone rule while he's teaching. 2 kids decided to buy walkie-talkies and bring them to class just to mess with the teacher. Now at the beginning of every year or semester he writes his cell phone policy on the board as well as his no walkie-talkie rule, in capital letters. Dodgeball, because most games in girls' gym classes usually ended up as a race war or catfight. High school. Tater tots were banned after Napoleon Dynamite came out. Apparently people kept hiding them in their pockets. But tater tots are one of the few things the cafeteria can't duck up. Military recruiters in my high school are confined to having a booth in the hallway by the front entrance and walking around the cafeteria during lunch. They are not allowed to go into classes like many other schools, except the JROTC class. This is because few years before I started there, a Navy recruiter in a class started telling students about his sexual exploits while traveling around the world. See kids, you never really understand the beauty of the world until you've banged an Arabic girl and a Taiwanese prostitute in the same month. Silly bans. So apparently a kid got hit by a giraffe in the eye and had to go to the hospital. Holes in jeans were banned. You couldn't even have a fray, even if there wasn't a hole there, in your jeans without getting chewed out by the principal. So kids would put tape over their jeans to cover up the holes. Well, he banned putting tape over your jeans too because it's disruptive. He then banned the girls from wearing tank tops underneath their low-cut shirts. They did this so their cleavage wouldn't show, because apparently a tank top is an undergarment. He also banned chains on jeans. Silly bans. And 2 guys were not allowed to go to a dance together, but 2 girls were. Changing the wallpapers on the computers was a no-no. Bouncy balls. Bringing your own water bottles. And bringing your own coffee was out of the question. He would take your phone and go through your messages if you were caught on it in class, even if there was an emergency. There's more, but I forgot a lot of them because I graduated a couple years ago. From what I've heard, he's still finding random shit to ban to make the lives of high school kids miserable. My high school principal was, and still is, an a-hole. Edit. Spelling. Vending machines. Senior year. One nondescript day I noticed the candy machine wasn't completely locked. I thought, oh well, I got my Twix, I'm good to go. A classmate was behind me and took notice that I had fiddled with the door a little and that it wasn't locked. By 9 AM the machine was empty. All hell broke loose. Announcement called all the seniors down to the cafeteria to condemn us for it. Catholic high school. They knew how to guilt. A couple of my classmates were blamed. The ones with stolen goods in their lockers. The rest of us didn't get to use the vending machines at our free periods the rest of the year. I probably could have snuffed the whole issue out quick by slamming the door to the machine. But 18-year-old me didn't give a flying F. At graduation we all threw Hershey miniatures in memorial to the vending we lost. They banned pogs at my elementary school. It's all fun and games until you play for keeps. Pogs were awesome. I brought mine to school in a briefcase. I was a legit businessman. We had a poop smasher incident that prohibited use of the bathrooms during lunch for an entire year. Edit. Alright, So, the poop smasher. One day, during lunch, the accused left the cafeteria to go to the bathroom, in an attempt to impress his comrades. He then squatted down and shat right in the middle of a styrofoam tray that had been laying on the ground. Since he believed that wasn't enough of a wow, he then took the tray and spread the contents all over the bathroom walls and the handles of the sinks. And that's how he was born. His name will forever remain in my heart. I love you, Poop Smasher. Eating in the library. Some kid slammed a cheeseburger in a book and placed it back on the shelf. To be honest, I'm surprised eating in the library was allowed in the first place. No library I've been in, school or otherwise, has allowed eating or drinking. Our lockers in high school after someone set off a pipe bomb in his. In 8th grade, I was part of the first graduating class of a new school in my town. Since it was just starting out, administration was still finding its way. Because of this, as the year passed, they banned glue because of sniffing, Sharpies, ditto, and vandalizing. Rubber bands, they were used to fire wasps, little pieces of paper, at each other. Tennis balls, chucked them at each other for some reason. Walking across the cafeteria, or switching tables, or even walking clockwise around the cafeteria. They decided you could only walk counterclockwise around it, to avoid students bumping into each other, and we had assigned seats. Silly bands, because of apparent gang association. Damn, we the dinosaur silly band gang, so you better keep your dumbass ducks away from us. Clothes with writing on it. One girl came to school with pants that said campus crew on the bum and the principal thought it was a subliminal message for can you screw? Edit. Many of the responses I'm getting are saying the principal is a pervert. I get it. He had to police the school somehow. But if a girl came to school without a shirt on, would you call him a pervert for telling her to wear a shirt? Not quite a ban, but when I was in high school, the school ceased the sale of all snacks and foods other than the standard lunch meals because there was a food fight that involved nearly everyone in the cafeteria and lasted the entire lunch period. Most of the administrators got hit with food in the cafeteria and all the surrounding halls were filthy. There was even a rumor that the lunch ladies kept supplying the fight with additional food. It was amazing. Winter jackets. I went to a pretty redneck high school, and those large, puffy Carhartt jackets were a staple of the redneck winter wardrobe. Well, one day some idiot in biology class decides that it would be a good idea to zip his jacket all the way up over his nose, pull his arms inside it, and smoke a bowl inside his jacket in the back of class. Obviously everyone could smell it, and he got caught. The administration banned the wearing of any winter jackets in class due to the incident. Usually not a big deal, except that the school population had outgrown our tiny, outdated building, so we had some of those temporary trailer classrooms. Having to sit in one of those during first period, in the middle of winter, with no jacket, after the heat had been turned off all night was a rare form of torture. Thanks idiot redneck stoner kid. Edit. I agree with you all. It was totally the administration who is to blame in this situation. They just reacted without thinking it through. I will add that some teachers were very understanding and would let us put coats on in the trailer when it was brutally cold in there. Hell, it was just as cold for them too. For picture day, the administration banned students from wearing glasses in their school photos. This was because the previous year about 9 classes of students wore the same pair of glasses and passed them around until about 75% of the student body had taken a picture with those same glasses on. It was pretty damn hilarious. Even if the kids needed their glasses, they weren't allowed to wear them out of the fear that the same bifocal bonanza would happen again. Cheerleaders. Our team was caught giving guys blowjobs on the buses too often going to and from athletic events. We weren't allowed to bring backpacks or bags of any kind to school during the last 2 weeks of the year due to a senior prank that involved water balloons filled with bleach, urine, and paint. My school doesn't allow backpacks due to school shootings, but 1-sling bags are allowed, so I just wear one of those. Dressing up for Halloween. Because some a-hole had to come to school dressed as a dong. Better than some dong who came dressed as an a-hole. The bathroom. Some jackass found a way to shit in the water pipes. Some jackass genius found a way to shit in the water pipes. A couple years after I started high school, My former middle school banned lotion because a bold young chap was found servicing himself in the locker room. They posted no lotion signs all over the school. The vice principal at my school banned pajama day during Spirit Week. In his defense, ghosts cannot wear pajamas. Edit. Thanks stranger for my first gold. Forget stranger danger. You guys rock. My high school stopped selling snacks because a kid bought over 100 Pop-Tart packets and started giving them to random people. Smarties ended up being banned from my middle school because kids were crushing them up and snorting the powder. Edit. These were in fact American Smerites. Bouncy balls. A bunch of seniors in my high school dumped a few thousand bouncy balls in the main hallway during the time between the morning periods. Kids grabbed them, started throwing them. There were reports of people getting injured, though everyone suspected such reports were exaggerated. By the next day, being caught with a bouncy ball was grounds for immediate suspension. This included holding one, passing one, tossing one, even just bouncing it outside. Stayed that way all year. No capes. I worked at a private school that required uniforms all week, but Friday was casual day. It still had a dress code, but it was very broadly defined. There was this one girl, 13 years old goth, who kept coming to school in the most bizarre outfits she could think of while still staying within the dress code. Everything she came up with for pushing the line would inevitably end up in a revision to the dress code because she found yet another loophole. Girls could wear skirts of a certain length, so she'd come in with fishnet thigh highs on. Another time it was heavy gothy black makeup. Other times it would be some bizarre hairstyle. Every time I struggled not to laugh. Finally she came in with a vampire cape her mother sewed for her. Black on the outside, red velvet inside, wide collar. It was frickin' awesome. Between classes she'd hold it in front of her on one arm like Bella Lugosi as she made her way to her next class. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.